Okay, I think the easiest way to do this, you can see your 22mm hydraulic drain plug here, is we will run a bucket brigade. Again, because we have these rails underneath, it limits your ability to have maneuver room under here. So we'll just have a bucket brigade of drains set up. Alright, here comes the flood. Now if I wanted this coming out faster, I would have gone ahead and unscrewed the fill port up on top. I wanted to be able to control this flow a little bit better, so I left it full. I left the fill plug drain installed, which puts a little bit of a back suction on it. But before we call it all done, we will loosen that and make sure we have all that we can get out of this hydraulic system. Alright, the next thing we're going to do, take off the hydrostatic portion of the hydraulic oil filter. Alright, let's talk real quick about hydrostatic oil filters. This is what came in my TYM filter kit. This is what is required. Part number on this, if you have a vertical filter on your hydrostatic drive, this is what you need. It's a 1553 2302 100. That's what you need for a vertical. If, however, your tractor is like mine and it's a horizontal fitment for the hydrostat, what came off of my tractor was a Man's WD 724/6 filter. Same size as this, and what this is a Wix equivalent. It's a 557/460, and they're not cheap, just saying. Now, the difference is, other than the outside dimensions and the length, the big difference is the size of the thread opening it goes on. So I tried to screw this one in going, what the heck? When this is what I needed. So we were delayed for a little bit. Had to wait on that part to come in. So now let's get busy screwing this back on and finish up with this hydraulic stuff real quick. Now that we have the correct filter, let's go back on and tighten it until you get it mounted in flush. You can feel it contact with the mounting plate. And then you want to go another 1/2 to 3/4 of a turn. I'm going to give it one more little twist. Not much of one. And like I said, when we get done with all this, we'll check and make sure that we don't have any runs, drips, or errors. How's that? Alright, now this is going to be your main element for your hydraulic system. It's a little larger, as you can see. It's mounted right here, and the new part number 17975152101. So let's get busy taking this one off. And this is the one that's going to be more difficult because they put these on obviously before they paint the tractor. So we're going to have to break that loose, and I'm hoping it's not going to be a bugbear, but We're about to find out. Yeah, it is. You are not going to believe how hard it was to break this main hydraulic filter loose. I've already been to the house once to cool off with a big tall glass of ice water and to change shirts, and this one's getting soaked through too. But what I ended up having to do is get a pipe wrench. It's broken loose now, but it's still a tough nut here. So let's take a look and see if we can get this thing off. Lord have mercy. I've been so far as to take my pocket knife and try and cut around and loosen that paint between the oil filter and where it mounts. Soaked it in WD-40 up around where it mounts after I cut the paint loose, and the regular filter wrench is still not strong enough. You can see where I've dented the sides squishing this thing, but it's been a pain. So let's go ahead and get the rest of this off. And it's still no walk in the park, Kadansky. Or whatever the dude's name was. Now, we'll probably get a little bit of drainage here. But she was on there. Alright. Let's do the same thing on this seal. And just like with your other oil filters, make sure you got all this cleaned off good. Alright, we've got our new seal lubed up with hydraulic fluid. Alright, let's take it another 1/2 to 3/4 of a turn. Alright, we feel good right there. Whee doggies! That was a pain. Now, the easiest thing to do, in my opinion, especially when your 5-gallon bucket of hydraulic fluid is full, is to just pour some through a funnel into a clean 1-gallon jug and dump the first 2 or 3 gallons out of your 5-gallon bucket in that way, and it beats wrestling with a full 5-gallon jug of hydraulic fluid, in my opinion. Now, one thing that will help you out, in my opinion, is some type of hydraulic fluid dye, because this stuff is very difficult to see on a dipstick or through your sight glass if that's the way your tractor is. Now, I just put about half of that in there. We'll see how that does for us. Alright, that should be about it. We'll check the dipstick after it's had time to settle a little bit. 10 gallons may not do it because the manual calls for 10.8. Well, we'll see. Alright, we cranked it up and ran it for a second. And it's right up at the max mark with 10 gallons. So glad I didn't put 10.8 in it. Already cranked it up. Ran it a few minutes, exercised the hydraulics on the backhoe and a little bit on the front end loader. We have no leaks around. Of course, we hadn't run the hydrostatic yet, but it's been parked. But I'll check that after we run the tractor to the house and make sure there's nothing leaking out of that filter. It shouldn't matter anyway, but we'll just double check it Nothing coming out of the big hydraulic filter. Engine oil filter is dry as a bone. Oil levels are all great. So we're going to call that good for right now. And I promise you, I'll get the axle, the front end axle, and we'll drain out that radiator fluid the next time. But we just ran into so many problems with trying to get that other hydraulic filter off that I'm just beat. It's hot out here, as you can see, and I'm done for the day. That's it. In part 3, we'll do the front axle. We'll drain out the radiator and refill that with fresh antifreeze / coolant, and we'll go through and lube this thing up. I'll show you where all the zerks are, and we even may give this thing a bath because it's pretty filthy at the moment. So if you enjoy this type of stuff, give us a like, subscribe, does good things for us, and we'll see you next time in Niggers Outdoors. Bye.